Convert more visitors by collecting and implementing zero-party data. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why collect data, how to collect it, and how to actually use it to improve marketing. And so number one, why is data important for e-commerce companies? What used to work for growing an e-commerce brand just does not work anymore. And that's just because of the fact that ad costs are constantly increasing. Globalization and access to manufacturing results in tons of commoditized goods. So there's more competition than ever. Tracking and privacy laws that are constantly changing and posing more challenges for brands to understand what's working in their ads and why. These are all macro forces that make it harder for e-commerce brands to stand out and to differentiate their products and to turn a profit. The unit economics make less and less sense for brands who run those same outdated strategies. And data is the number one differentiator for growth. It used to be that you could just scale ads with the highest ROAS because ads were cheap enough to where you could sustain profitability just by acquiring enough low quality one-time customers. You could send cookie cutter email marketing and it would be enough. Nowadays, you actually have to be able to define what separates a high quality visitor from a low quality visitor, or one that's more likely to convert than others. And the way that you do that is by collecting data at a high point of purchase intent. And that's because you can't influence a sale. You can't affect a sale after it happens. To affect a sale, you have to improve the pre-purchase experience. To improve the pre-purchase experience, you need to know what's working about it and what isn't currently. And to know those things, you have to collect pre-purchase data. You have to use top converting and outperforming data points to inform the strategy of advertising, of email marketing, and the structure of product pages so that they hit on the right information in the right order. And you have to provide an undeniable customer experience by aligning the customer journey to the company journey. And so often these are misaligned with each other, which creates a very poor customer experience. So how does data provide a competitive advantage? Data literally allows brands to become more efficient with less resources and less wasted budget. Data allows for better ads because you get more out of the same spend. It allows you to score ads based on the returns that happen outside of the timeframes that ad platforms measure for. And so what I mean by that is if you have two people who come through the same ad at the same order value, at the same ROAS, it doesn't tell you who's more likely to come back and purchase a second time and be a repeat purchaser. Data also works to improve ads because it allows you to identify and target personas who have the highest statistical odds of converting and repurchasing with the exact product specs and features that they care about most, they being the highest quality audience. It also allows you to highlight the exact use cases that are responsible for the most conversions. So different people use products for different reasons. Depending on what they're looking to use the product for, they'll convert more or less than others. Data also works to improve conversions across product pages because it keys you into how to format and structure product pages based on the reasons and product features that lead to more conversions. It also allows for more timely and more relevant email marketing. You can send emails with relevant content during the times that are most likely to influence a purchase decision. And the times that are most likely to influence a purchase decision depend on a brand's average buying cycle. So taking confidence intervals around the average time to first purchase and the time between orders so that you can reach people with email marketing based on when they're most likely to consider a purchase. Number two, how to actually collect the data. So there's two key characteristics to collecting data that's actually actionable for improving marketing. And so the first is ask visitors 3 to 4 questions about the customer journey, also known as qualitative data, when they sign up in exchange for an offer. So when they subscribe. And that's because visitors who subscribe in exchange for an offer are the highest intent cohort prior to a purchase. Remember, you cannot affect a purchase after it happens. You need to be able to identify what's working and what isn't about the pre-purchase experience, and then improve upon those things by leaning into what's working, by doing less of what isn't. And so that's why collect intent-based pre-purchase data. Generally, for most e-commerce brands, conversion rates across the website are anywhere from 2 to 5% being considered average, whereas the conversion rates of subscribers are closer to 20%. And so 80% of the highest intent pre-purchase cohort does not purchase. So how do you separate the 80% who never purchases from the 20% who you want to attract more of? Secondly, mapping this pre-purchase data or qualitative data to post-purchase quantitative data is how we can begin to separate correlation from causation within patterns in the data. And you need to be able to separate correlation from causation because that's how you eliminate guesswork in marketing. If you don't isolate causation within patterns in the data, then it's pretty easy to find patterns in anything, and it's not actionable for marketing. So qualitative pre-purchase data can be questions like, what matters most to the customer in the products or categories that you're selling, how customers use the products or how they use them, or how often they engage in a brand-related lifestyle activity, what their timeline for purchasing looks like, how many pairs or items within a collection that they own. On the other hand, quantitative post-purchase data is things like revenue, number of orders, conversion rate, basically things that you'd find in your Shopify dashboard. And so by collecting 3 to 4 data points about what matters to people at a high point of purchase intent, you can identify the reasons why some people purchase and why other people don't. And this empowers email marketing and advertising and website improvements. And so a couple common questions about this point. One, why are sign-up forms the best place to collect data? There's a few reasons. One, like we talked about, a purchase cannot be influenced after it happens. Number two, consumers expect pop-ups and sign-up forms on e-commerce websites, which means it doesn't require customers to do anything different or rethink anything. It's using a built-in behavior to recoup a previously sunk cost. And number three, the data collected is worth far more than the margin sacrificed via the discount offered. Things like emails, first names, birthdays, and phone numbers, on their own, they provide zero context about why people are buying, why they're visiting the website, why they're signing up, and what matters to them in the products that you sell. Another common question, but will adding questions to sign-up forms reduce opt-in rate? Nope, not at all. Sign-up forms with live data collection means that you get their email and they get their code as a customer, even if they don't want to provide data. So for example, they say they see the form, they opt in, standard. When they see the questions pop up, the data points, even if they exit out, they still get their code. So it's not mandatory, but what I found in testing this for a jewelry brand is that 90% of people are willing to provide data after subscribing. And remember, subscriber rate does not matter as much as subscriber to purchase rate. Basing the success of a pop-up off of opt-in rate or subscribe rate, it's kind of like a restaurant basing their success off of the number of reservations they made rather than the amount of tabs paid at the end of the night. So it's the subscribe to purchase rate that actually moves the needle for brands, and that's the metric that actually matters in terms of the success of sign-up forms. So for example, let's say that we're a brand selling apparel products. The data collected should be questions about their customer journey, the visitor's customer journey. So things like, what apparel are you most interested in? Men's, women's, both? What matters most in your clothing? Comfort and breathability, trendy styles, versatile athleisure? What are you shopping for? Daily wardrobe, working out, other? And then number 4, this is an important question to ask regardless of the types of products that are being sold, because it gives you an idea of someone's timeline for purchasing. And you want to be able to find people who are in buy mode, so to speak, or today, in a few days, people who are ready to purchase the types of products that you sell. So when are you purchasing, when are you looking to upgrade? And combining qualitative data with quantitative data looks something like this, where we have each qualitative data point represented in green, and in purple we have 4 components of quantitative data. And it's important to combine them, again, because you need to be able to separate what's working and why. And you have to be able to separate correlation from causation when you go to analyze the data so that you get a full picture about what's working, what isn't. And if you're thinking, you know, like why do we need 4 different components of quantitative data for every single qualitative question that we're asking? And the reason you need 4 different components, so answer count, revenue, orders, conversion rate, is because you don't want to just look at any one individual KPI in isolation, because it's not going to give you the full picture of what's working. So for instance, the highest amount of answers assumes a higher conversion rate, but it doesn't tell you how many orders are responsible for that revenue. And revenue alone doesn't tell you if people who answered with a given data point actually purchased from the respective collection. Or if you have lots of answers for a data point that shows people are interested in, say, collection A, that doesn't tell you whether they're converting or not. Conversion rate represents likelihood of purchasing, but by itself, it does not tell you the impact it has on revenue or the number of orders. And so it's kind of like solving a puzzle where each component of the data, again, answers, revenue, orders, and conversion rate, provides part of the picture, but you need to be able to look at them comprehensively so that you can piece it together and see the full picture. And finally, number 3, how to actually leverage the data in order to improve marketing. specifically across ads, product pages, and email marketing. So for paid ads, the point is to improve ad spend and offset customer acquisition costs to target the audiences that are more likely to convert than others. So for example, if data shows that customers interested in a given collection have a higher conversion rate, then that's the collection that you'd want to highlight in ads. To acquire customers with the highest odds of repurchasing and differentiate between ads that drive the most traffic versus ads that drive the highest quality traffic, and to gain a more comprehensive understanding of an ad success. And again, in-platform ROAS is not a comprehensive measure of an ad success, because if two purchasers come through the same ad at the same ROAS, at the same AOV, it doesn't tell you who's more likely to repurchase. Additionally, if you have two people who come through the same ad, one person spends 100, the other person spends 50, right? Naturally, you'd think that the person who spends more is a higher quality customer, but it's not necessarily the case, because if you have data that shows that first-time customers who answer XYZ data points and they spent less, but they're still more likely to come back and spend more than $100 throughout the lifetime of them being a customer, then that would suggest that they're a higher quality customer, and it would change the scope of your ad strategy. And so if the point of running ads is to profitably acquire new customers, there's a few things that we'd want to do. We'd want to target the persona who shows the most intent to purchase. We'd want to show those people the types of products that convert the best. We'd want to describe those products with the exact specs and product features responsible for generating more conversions than others, and to allocate more budget to the ads driving people looking to buy your products. So for example, if we want to target the persona who shows the most intent to purchase, we look at what apparel are you most interested in. We see that men's have by far the most answers, by far the most revenue, by far the most orders, and not the highest conversion rate, but still nonetheless a healthy conversion rate. So the persona that shows the most intent to purchase in this example would be people shopping for menswear. The types of products that convert better than others. We'd want to look to, what are you shopping for? So we'd see that daily wardrobe, it has the most answers, definitely the most revenue, most orders, even conversion rate. So it would be daily wear. So daily style staples. Describing those products with the exact features responsible for the most conversions. What matters most in your clothing? We'd see that comfort and breathability have the most answers. They have not the most revenue, but the one that has the most revenue is the least conversion rate. So then we'd want to go comfort and breathability, and to allocate more budget to the ads driving people who are ready to buy sooner rather than later. So we'd want to find people who are looking to buy today or in a few days. And if we see that most people are answering today and they convert the highest, then we'd want to see which ads are driving people who are answering today, and then put more budget behind the ads that drive people who are answering with today. The ways in which data is used to improve product page conversions is by methodically highlighting the specific product features that comprise the highest quality audience, the audience with the highest odds of converting, to describe features and benefits that customers are looking for in these products, and to provide all the information customers need to consider a purchase in order to prevent them from leaving the website to search for that information manually. The more people that leave a product page and have to find information elsewhere, the less amount of people ultimately will end up converting. So for example, if we look to the question, what matters most in your clothing, it tells us exactly how to structure product pages. We'd start with the highest converting answer, so versatile athleisure, then we'd hit on comfort and breathability, and then we'd hit on trendy styles. The question, what are you shopping for, tells us the most important use cases that we should be highlighting on product pages. So if visitors say they're shopping for daily wear and they also convert well, then we'd want to lean into those reasons for shopping on the product page. And especially in reviews, if there's customer reviews where they're talking about using the products for those same reasons, then those should be prioritized. So the key idea here is that all of the features and product specs that people care about should be front and center across all respective product pages. And oftentimes pages are so focused on features and benefits, but they're not necessarily tied back to the reasons that customers are shopping for them. Oftentimes companies are too close to their own process to understand what they think is beneficial about the product versus what customers are experiencing with the product. And so this is the argument about customer centricity versus customer centricity. Using the data in email marketing. So the point is to inject flows with context about what matters to those with the highest odds of converting or the highest quality audience, to bridge educational gaps with campaigns in relation to your products, and to get in front of people during times most likely to influence a conversion. And so, for example, what matters most in your clothing? What are you shopping for? These two questions tell us which products and which features to call out in the core email flows so that they speak directly to the highest quality audience. So, for example, comfort and breathability and versatile athleisure could be features to expand on in email flows or to lean into throughout these flows. Hero images that represent daily wardrobe and messaging about what makes the clothes perfect for daily wear would be perfect for creative and images throughout the emails. Sending a campaign that's focused on trendy styles, since they have 33% of the answers but only convert at 70%, that indicates that there's some type of gap or something preventing those people from converting. And so a campaign that's geared towards providing more information or education, or even just understanding, like opening up a conversation with people and prompting a reply to better understand where you're falling short. The question, when are you looking to upgrade your closet? So if someone signs up and they don't convert within the average time to first purchase or time between orders, or whatever the buying cycle is, then they're likely not worth chasing after. And so when there's something that's keeping people from converting after they subscribe for an offer, you want to make sure that the flows are sending according to buying cycles. So you can take a confidence interval around time to first purchase and time between orders, and then send the welcome flow according to the time to first purchase. If the majority of purchases happen within 12 to 24 hours, then there's really no reason to have a welcome flow that sends over 2 weeks. If the vast majority of people who repurchase do so within 30 days, you wouldn't want to send the re-engagement flow 60 days after. You'd want to send it at day 30 when they're most likely to consider a secondary purchase. So email marketing will not make people need or use more of what you sell. Retention is the result of timing, use case, how people use the product, perceived value of the product, and timely sending around intent periods. Marketers cannot control for all of those things. They can definitely control for timely sending around intent intervals, but marketers cannot control for when someone needs a product or how they use a product. And they definitely can't control for whether consumers buy competing products from similar brands. They do. No one wants to talk about that, but the reality is in e-commerce, consumers will buy product from competing brands to see which one they like and which ones they want to stick with. And really in e-commerce, people are more loyal to discounts and the lowest price that meets their quality standards than they are to brands, with the exception of like maybe 50 to 100 legacy brands. But what marketers can control for is how they approach communication around intent periods based on those average buying cycles. And the point of email as a marketing channel is to send relevant content during those times that are most likely to influence a purchase. And I included these steps for how to calculate average time to first purchase and time between transactions in Klaviyo. Klaviyo doesn't make it easy to just grab these in platform automatically. And I'll make a separate video on this, but if you want to follow along, I'll go ahead and run through these. Yeah, I'll be sure to post another video on these though. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.